Hello, my name is Pape2 or Andre, and this is my Rorowa deck profile. I recently got first place at locals with it, so I just want to share my list and see people's thoughts on Divine Set 1 meta. So, first of all, talk about the ride line. It's the same ride line, you have to run the star 0, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, the old one's still in the ride line. If you don't know what it does, starter says that when you go second, draw a card, haha. The grade 1 says, when ran over by specifically the starter, you make a token behind it. So it means going second, you get a nice 13k column to beat with. Grade 2 says, retire a rear guard, make 2 tokens. So usually you retire the token behind your vanguard and you make a nice column of tokens. You just have 2 attacks, helps with rushing. And then the grade 3 has 2 skills. First skill says, act, soul boss 1. You can make up to 3 tokens, nice. And then second skill says whenever your vanguard's attacked, you can retire one of your token units. So this includes your Momoke token, and you gain 5k battlefield in turn. It's not once per turn. So it's basically just turning all your tokens into 5k shields. So that is our ride line. Next we have our haha tokens. You need the nice pretty ones because pretty tokens wins games. Next, I'm gonna talk about the Momoke token. Momoke token is basically the backbone of this whole deck. That's what this kind of deck whole revolves around. So you got 2 skills. Number 1, he says continuous back row. If you have a glitter Rorowa vanguard, which you always will have, and he's behind a red Alina, you can swing at him from the back row. So he swings by himself. And then second skill is act once per turn. You can retire any number of rear guards and he gains 5k. So normally you're shitting out your tokens and then you're going to retire them with this to try and gain power. Of course, in our ride line, don't forget we have to have our energy crest. Energy is really good in this deck. It's helped it a lot. Gets it more consistency, more pieces. It's fantastic. So, yay. And then I have, 10 energies. Just got the now ones because, yeah. Alright, moving on to the actual deck now. So, starting off our grade 3s, we have our 3 copies of the Flash Rorowa, the new one. So, if you don't know what he does, he says when he's placed on top of the old Rorowa, you make up to 2 plant tokens and then activate Persona Ride. So specifically, you have to make the 2 tokens and then Persona Ride. And those tokens that get called have the red text that win the retired draw. That skill specifically is what makes this deck really good. Start getting really tanky. Because of the Superior Ride promo, we get like shit really quickly. And also the second skill says when he swings, you can bind the old Rorowa, the set 5 one, from your soul, and then he gains 5k and a glitter unit gains 5k and he gains a critical, which basically means you're swinging with your vanguard, which will be 18 or 28 on Persona Ride with a critical, which is a nice number. And also you're giving a glitter unit 5k. If you didn't know, Momoke is a glitter unit, so if you want to basically always be getting that power to Momoke, because Momoke will just get bigger, and it would make more sense why if you don't already know what Rorowa does. So max out Persona Rides. Next up, we have our 4 set order, the promo. So this says, cost, cannon boss 1, retire a unit. Gonna play it, and then auto, when it's put into order zone, you search your deck for a red Alina and add it to your hand. So it can be the grade 2 or the grade 3 one. And then the second skill says, in order zone, for each one you have, your back row tokens gain 5k. This includes plant tokens and Momoke. Interesting ruling, though, as well, you have to keep in mind, is if you make tokens with this Rorowa, and then you decide to retire the red text token with this, technically, you're allowed to pay the cost for this, then draw a card from this, and then do this. That is because this is an auto ability when put into order zone. So you pay the cost to put it in, and then the auto ability activates, which goes on the same timing and standby as this one. So technically, you actually want to draw first and then search, because so you have a higher chance of drawing into a normal unit instead of a trigger to keep your deck compressed. So yeah, it's a key thing to keep in mind. Next up, I'm going to go to our grade 3 Red Alina. It is kind of backwards, but I'm just doing this by grade order. Grade 3 Red Alina says that at the end of the battle, a Red Alina unit attacked, you can retire a Momoke and the Red Alina unit that attacked, and a Red Alina, and call this unit during battle phase, and she copies the power of Momoke. So what this deck does is it likes copying the power of Momoke. So you want Momoke to be nice and big, and this is basically your 5th attack. So how it would work, and also it says main phase. At the start of your main phase, if you do not have a Momoke, you get to make one. So basically it's Momoke for free. Usually, rarely happens, but it's mostly for the 5th attack skill. It's a hidden 5th attack. Many people actually forget that she exists, because this deck isn't that popular. people will like guard your attacks, and then you'll come out with the fifth attack, and it's actually your biggest attack, and then they're like, oh no, and then they have to take it, or they'll have to waste way more guard than they should have because they just mismanaged their guard because they didn't realize you had it coming. And yeah, just good card. We want to max this out on 4. You can get away with 3, but because you're drawing so much more, I still believe we need to get 4. If you go down to 3, there's very few cards that say that you want to replace for it. Like in set 1, we do get, and in future sets, we do get new cards that you could technically put in, things that make more tokens or give us more aggro or more power. But honestly, as is, I think I like the power level. I feel like we don't really need that much power, and I like the consistency of having multiple copies of everything, because I don't really want to search this all this out, I really want to be adding it to hand. So there's also that. And then basically the best card in the deck, grade 2 Redalina. Grade 2 Redalina is your main target. This is the one everyone always sees. So she says, act, counterblast 1, make a Momoke token. No one's returned, by the way. So for some reason you want to, use her skill, make Momoke, set order, retire the Momoke, and then use her skill, make Momoke again. You can. It's expensive. It is play. Sometimes you have to do it. And then her second skill says, when she attacks, Soul Boss 1, copy the power of the unit in front of her, behind her. So it can be a plant token if you want, but it can also be Momoke. So if Momoke is behind her, like this, Momoke can swing, and then swing with this, Soul Boss 1 gains the power. So if Momoke is like 20, this becomes 30. Nice numbers. And that's not including Persona Ride, because Persona Ride would be 40k, so quite nice. Next up, we have 4 copies of Brave Shooter, the new energy cycler. With energy, we really need to capitalize off it. Energy is a fake resource and a free resource. So how about we use them to maximize draw power, because the Guardian skill is very nice. The second skill is also quite good because with the Persona skill, you can add back your Redalinas or your Mushrooms or your promo, which we'll get back to soon in a minute, to just consistency. Just a consistency buff, really. And just, it's quite nice. It's not as strong as the next card we go to, Persona skill, but it helps. It's mostly for the discarding skill. We just want to draw and dig for our pieces and just try and guard, because the problem with this deck is it doesn't really have hand size, so we're running as many cards that say draw along with our engine to try and maximize that. Next up, we have 2 copies of the set 10 cycler. Yes, these are the Cat Secrets. They've got a different name, but this is Margaret, if you don't know what it does. When Disc of Ride phase, so plus 1 bot deck, draw a card, and then the second skill, Persona Ride, is on play CB1, opponent's front row cannot stand or intercept. Now, this Persona skill is technically better because it can hurt decks, especially like Eva and things, which are going to become more meta in the future. And other things, because a lot of people care about the front row more and more and more, so this will just get better with time. But specifically, you want to keep this at 2 and the other one at 4, and not the other, or switch ratios around, because this does go to bottom of deck. So with our set order, when we shuffle, this will get shuffled back, and we don't want to decompress our deck as much. And also, so you will see it as well. Like if you discard one of these for ride deck, you will, like, you can shuffle it back and you might see it again. So you don't really want to clog your deck up with these too much. But, and if later game, if you don't draw them, like if you draw them, they're just a 5k beat stick, or like they're 5k shield, they're 10k beat stick. The Planet skill is nice, but CB is a free resource, so we can't get away with it all the time. But it's very good. You definitely do need it though, too, just to increase ride consistency. Oh, also, you don't get energy going first, so you kind of want to have free ride targets, or free dish targets. Now, the card that helped this deck incredibly much, the Grade 1 Superior Ride promo. So, first of all, it's 10k shield, always, which is great. And second skill says, act, you can shove him to soul, and then you search your deck for the new Rorowa and ride it. Your opponent does not have to be grade 3, and so to do this, which is free. And also, it gives you soul, and then you get the on-play skill, the new Rorowa, because none of the skills are grade 3 locked. The only thing that's grade 3 locked is grade 3 Redalina for the 5th attack. But for this, you can just quite happily do this when your opponent's on grade 2, ride the new one, and then you can swing with your Vanguard with a token boost. That's a 28k column with double crit. Vanguard gains the crit still. You can still give the power to Momoke. You still get nice numbers. This is 8 copies of Persona Ride, because guess what? Who doesn't draw Persona Ride? Me. You know what I do draw? These draw me Persona Ride. So this is insane. You also, because of this, you want 4 Persona Rides, because if you use one of this goes away, and so does the Persona Ride, so you can actually go through them quite quickly. So be careful. You might actually, unironically, I most of the time never keep in mulligan Persona Ride unless it's this. I keep this in hand always. But if I have an actual Persona Ride in hand, I always put it back, because this is better because it's deck thin, or I just want to have as many in deck as possible to be able to Persona Ride as much as possible. So the best card in the deck, you need this. Next up, the card that used to be the MVP was kind of actually fallen off. Mushrooms. Now, Mushrooms is still a great card. Go to Soul, make 2 tokens. A fantastic skill. But if I'm being honest, it's not insane anymore. We're not aggroing, or we don't need it too badly. Like, because of the new promo, the reason why we needed this really desperately before was before we needed Soul. But then, when we got the new Rorowa, we started not needing souls much because we didn't have access to souls when we make 3 tokens. But we needed the tokens part. So then this fixed it because there's always soul and there's always tokens. But with this, we are able to get this. This gives us soul. And it also allows us to use the original soul boss when we make 3 tokens. And then you can ride up with this. And then you can get the additional tokens. So you can make up to 5 tokens a turn, which is plenty if you sequence things correctly. And you can... it's just great. It's just good. So this is as great, but you do definitely want to be calling this down early, just getting free token columns. You know, on going second, you can call this, so you swing 10, 13, and then you sack the back row and you have 10, 10, 10. Like, you can have many, many multi-attacks with this. So it's still very good, but if we get better cards, this may actually get caught. Like, maybe the new Festival Grade 2 that's on place make a token could actually see this going away, but I'm not too sure. And now to the last grade 1s, we have Elementary and our 3 PGs, because PGs are good and Elementary is good because good value. There's no reason not to run Elementary in this deck specifically. It's not like we're running any other Blitz orders or defensive options. So yeah. Now, triggers. First off, we have 4 draw triggers. Now, we do draw a lot, but I still like hitting my pieces, and very often I won't hit my pieces, and a draw trigger will help fix that. It's 10k shield, so it's honestly fine that's a 10k shield, because very often you can just drop this and like one of your tokens and make a 15. Like, it's not that bad. Your tokens are pretty much free to call to Guardian Circle, so that's nice. And hitting draws are good. You're almost never decking out. Like, you shouldn't be playing for the long game. You should be killing by turn 4, so these won't matter. And I know it's stupid, but crits are kind of awkward in this deck if you're on Persona turns, because you don't really... You want to always give the power to Momoke, because Momoke will scale power 3-fold. Because if you give a trigger power to Momoke, let's say Momoke is 20, that means your Red Lina is 30, and then your Gray 3 Red Lina is 33. That's not on a Persona turn. But if you get the... So if you give that trigger power to like a rear guard for some reason, instead of Momoke, instead of going from 20, 30, 33, you could be going 30, 40, 43, which is way better numbers. Like, for 10k, you're getting 30k power. Like, that's why you always want to put triggers on the back row. That's why you never will run fronts of this deck, because that's stupid. But draws are good. You could cut it down to 3. There is an argument for that, but I personally just like them at 4. Next up, crits. 4 effect crits, because effect crits, you never need the soul really, so you can get away with not running them. You don't really need them, but they're nice. They look pretty. And then we run 3 vanilla crits. This one matches the deck more, that's why I run it. There's no other explanation for that. 4 vanilla heals. I like vanilla heals because even though I did say that we can afford to run 10ks, if you run effect heals on the other hand though, in early game when you want to like drop a 15k to guard and you don't have the access of setting your tokens off, 10ks are really annoying. So you very much do want your heals, right? So effect heals can fuck you over, and I don't think there's any deck that's so oppressive right now, especially in Divine Set 1, that like you desperately need one or the other. Maybe when we go into like Set 2 with Zorga and Black Damara, you might want the crit ones, but personally I'll probably still stick to the 4 vanillas, because I think you'll just rush them before it kind of matters. But yeah. And then finally, Red OT. This is the you want the Red OT specifically. We have been revealed the newer OTs as of the time of recording, the Piss and the purple one. You're still gonna run the red one. The reason why is if you check the red one, you win the game. I am not joking. What I mean by that is you give 100 million to Momoke. Momoke gains 100 million. It swings. Red text. It stands. It swings. Then Red Lina swings. And then Red Lina swings. All with over 100 million. That is 4 100 million swings. That means on a Persona turn, if someone says OT to pass on your Vanguard, even though it's double critical, you still give the 100 million to the Momoke, because you're asking them to have 4 PGs for them to guard your attack if they're on 5 damage. No one has 4 PGs in hand. I will tell you that now. So Red OT is correct. You check it, you win the game. I've never checked it and not won the game immediately then and there. So thank you so much for watching. This has been my Rorowa deck profile. I'll catch you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.